Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. We've got a guy who I've been trying to get on for a long time, but just haven't really worked it out. Me personally have been really busy, so it's just been a tough time. But finally, we get him on. Lawrence from Platform 246. Just I love the stuff that you do with your sons, how you incorporate your family into your channel. Go sub to him because, I mean, link in the description. He's a great 49ers content creator. And what do I call you? Because I forgot to ask you this back stream. What do I call you? Is it Lawrence? Platform 246. What exactly do I call you?
Well, you can call me honored, first of all, to be here on your channel. And I sincerely appreciate that intro. I'm not deserving. You are an excellent 49ers content creator as well. So, folks, if you are not already subscribed, if you're new, please subscribe to this young man. If you don't mind mine as well, it's right there. You can call me
Yeah.
Champ or you can call me Lawrence. No, you just call me Lawrence, brother. We good. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to get into these topics, and let's get right
So am
into
I.
them. The first one being, you know, should like I know we saw the Seahawks versus the 49ers game on Thursday night, and this is going to be a little bit of a reaction stream. So, I mean, we win the NFC West. The 49ers win the NFC West, but there
Amen.
were a few things to take away from that, and one of those things was Christian McCaffrey. I think, he had one of his best games, or if not his best, I think probably second best game as a Niner.
Yeah. Mhm.
And he had, I believe it was 30 touches, over 30 touches in
Yep.
that game, and played 57 snaps, which was, I believe, the second most out of, or third most behind Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk out of any person on that team. So he played a lot of snaps. He got a lot of carries. I think I can pull him up right now. Let me pull up the carries. He had
I want to say like
26
27
carries,
or 27. Yep, you got it.
26
26.
carries, 6 catches off of 8 targets. So,
Eight
yeah,
targets.
had quite a few touches. My question to you is, should the 49ers be using Christian McCaffrey as much as they are? Just because, I don't know, we saw what happened with Debo last year in the championship game, or, I mean, throughout the playoffs. I think he kind of ran out of steam a little bit, and we saw that. And now, should the 49ers avoid that?
I think that they can do it, and then that they maybe should not necessarily do it as well. It's kind of a uh, double-edged sword. I think he can take it. In Carolina, he was at one point in time literally the only option. So in ways, so he had 6 targets yesterday, or 6 catches yesterday, 8 targets. Now running the ball 26 times and running up the
Yeah.
middle, Kyle. So no, I don't think he should do that, Kemper, sir. But if he gets 30 catches, 30 touches a game, and maybe 21 of them are carries, as few up the middle as possible, Kyle, and then maybe 8 or
Right.
9 catches, then fine. Let him have 30 touches a game. But 26 runs, as many times as we saw him run up the middle, no.
I mean, I agree. You saw, and like you said, the up the middle things, like they were using him as that short yardage back,
Yeah,
and I
that's
just don't
why.
think that's a good idea. Like, he never was that type of running back in Carolina. And my thought is with the Jordan Mason thing is Jordan Mason only had 7 snaps. And when Jordan Mason comes in, most of the time it is a run. Now, here's the thing, right? I think if you're Kyle Shanahan and you're the team facing Kyle Shanahan, every time Jordan Mason comes in, it's a
Yeah,
run. So if you're Kyle
correct.
Shanahan, you put Brock Purdy under center and you put Mason there and you play action to
Play
Mason,
action.
the whole defense is gone. And that's where I think,
I agree.
I think Kyle Shanahan has absolutely thought of that. And I think that's a card up his sleeve that he's probably going to pull out during the playoffs because he knows right now, like, we don't need a beat. I mean, we don't need to use that card on these not so good teams. I just don't
Man,
want to
this
see that. I mean, I just don't want to see that Debo Samuel workload because it was evident. Deebo Samuel come championship game, just oh my gosh, like you could see that he was wear and tear. So, I just don't want to see that.
I agree with you, and I think that we should use him more sparingly, and then you should use more often Jordan Mason. He would be great for play action, and he'd also be great on the Texas route as long as he can catch the ball. We don't get to see a lot of it because Cal doesn't run it, but yes, using him like a bell cow back is not what we want to do. Not Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he's built for it.
Yeah, and I honestly think like rookies with Kyle Shanahan definitely don't get as much trust, and I
Nope,
get it,
we don't. We know it.
but Mason has shown nothing to really destroy that trust. He's
Right.
never fumbled,
I agree.
But I mean, I get it, losing somebody like Elijah Mitchell is a tough thing, and but you have to be able to adjust in those situations. And I don't know, man. I don't want to see another game like that. So,
I agree with you completely. Kyle's
but
not good at
maybe
adjusting.
But maybe he was just thinking like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to win." I don't know. Maybe.
I
Not
actually
sure.
think that what you're saying, Kemper, is true. I think that Cal has quite a bit of stuff in his bag,
Yeah.
waiting for the playoffs. With
Yeah.
people that we had with Danny Gray, with Jordan Mason, he hasn't used them weapons all year long. He has a plethora of weapons, and I believe that he has a lot of things that he's just holding and waiting to put forth uh, in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's get into a little bit of the comments. David
Yes.
McNew
What's
says, "What up,
happening,
Camper
David?
and Lawrence?" Yeah, Saturday night. It's a little bit late. I had a day of basketball, so I was gone all day, and so this is
Balling?
really the only
Okay.
time. But thank you for thank you for coming on this late. You're on the West Coast, right?
I am in Vegas, young sir, in Las
Okay, nice,
Vegas. Yeah,
nice.
Raider
That
country. Yeah, and I'm originally from LA. Well, excuse me,
nice.
Compton, folks. I am from Compton. Compton and LA are different things. LA is everything. California is not LA, folks. That's not San Francisco or San Diego.
Yeah.
It's not. There are other cities. Yes, I'm from Compton in a small city called Linwood, and now I reside in Las Vegas, Raider Hell.
And I forgot to say this at the beginning of the show, but like describe your channel a little bit and what you do.
Yes,
Obviously,
sir.
I said it was a 49ers channel, but describe it a little bit because I usually do that to every guest and I forgot to this time. So describe
No
that real
problem.
quick.
I can do that. So thank you for that. What we do on platform 246, if you decide to step up with us, is you'll be able to see the video that we just dropped today. Today was just a clip, but it was my thoughts in an unfortunate just mini rant after our game, seeing the uh, antics of one George Kittle. So we do live streams. I live stream every single 49ers game, play by play and fun. And I watch along with all of our faithful and our folks. If you want to come step up and do that, we always appreciate anybody who would. And then also, if you like the WWE or AEW wrestling, yes, I'm an old man and I like wrestling. And now my sons are also both very much obsessed with it as well. And we just yesterday watched SmackDown with all of our folks. If you like watching wrestling, we put it on Fox, put it on USA, watch it together and make fun of it. That's about it. And it's just, my opinion really on anything. If you remember earlier in the year, young sir, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. We have videos on
Yeah. Yeah.
I have my thoughts on that on the channel. So whatever's going on in the world, 49ers and wrestling. That's what we cover on platform 246. Myself and my two teenage sons. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come in here with you.
Yeah. I mean, definitely wanted to have you on for a while, but let's get back to some of the comments. Thursday night games should be banned. Not enough time for the players to heal up and get ready.
I agree, David.
I've been saying that all season. And the thing that sucks is this Seattle game was a little bit of a tough game because they were playing on turf, and everyone has known my thoughts, or I've voiced them on the channel about how turf should be banned. I think everyone thinks that. And a multi-million or $1 billion organization like the NFL should be able to afford grass, or even the owner should be able to afford grass for all of the players.
Every
And so when
owner.
you're playing on turf 4 days later, It is tough. And so, yeah, definitely. It's good that we have like a little bit of a mini bye to rest up from that because turf is not something you want to face all the time.
And Nick Bosa hates it.
Yeah.
Shout out to the small bear.
Yeah. Can't use CMC like that. He wants to be on every play, but limiting his use will help him stay fresh. Yeah.
You're right, David. He does, I believe. I agree. But he sometimes coaches have to save players from themselves.
Yeah.
Is what they say.
Yeah, and when you're a competitor, an ultimate competitor like him trying to go chase a championship, you're not going to want to go out but then you're going to be feeling it a few weeks later, so.
Yeah, if I can add, do you know, I'm almost 100% positive, isn't this his first time ever touching the playoff grounds?
No, I don't think so because they made it to the playoffs in 2018. So I don't think so. I think he's made it once.
He got bounced right away though.
I'm sure. I think he got beaten by the Saints.
Yeah, he wouldn't. I'm sure he wasn't as confident as he is today.
No,
so,
no.
Yeah. He's very happy to be here.
Yeah, it might have been in his rookie season too. I would have to look that one up, but let's get to the yeah, for sure. Let's get to the next topic. And this one, I mean, this one is now that the 49ers have clinched the playoffs, and I was thinking like before the 49ers game versus the Seahawks on Thursday night, I was thinking if they win, then I'm going to have this is going to be one of our topics for this show, which is comparing up the 49ers with every potential playoff matchup. And this one I think is, this one's important. And so here are the 4 teams that the 49ers I think could play. So let's say, assuming that they get the 3rd or 2nd seed, they'll have the Commanders, either the Commanders, Giants, Seattle, or Detroit are looking like the 4 teams that are still in it right now and will most likely or are battling it out for those 2 spots. So let's start with the Commanders. And we'll go from actually rank these teams from hardest, like worst to greatest, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Commanders, Giants, Seattle, and then Detroit. I'm going to start real quickly ranking them. I would say I would go Seattle easiest, Giants next, Detroit, and then the hardest. No, actually Commanders below Detroit, and then the hardest team, I think Detroit. What do you rank these teams and break them down a little bit?
I think we're pretty close. I would have to say New York is going to start on the bottom of the ladder, and then I would go Seattle, and then I would go Commanders and Detroit. I think the Lions have an ability to put up a lot of points. So if they won't put up a lot of points on us, but if our offense sputters a little bit throughout that day for whatever reason, our undrafted rookie quarterback or damn near undrafted rookie quarterback, if that happens, then or injury, whatever the case is, then maybe we could have to put up 23 on them or something like that, and maybe struggle doing so. Washington, if they're I would just say that they have a really good defensive line that could also possibly stifle our offense. And if we make our bonehead plays that we can make on defense at times, which means busted coverages. I'm talking to you, Talanoa. Busted coverages. Talanoa, Hufanga's specialty outside of excellent play at the line. And then they get a couple plays over the top. Maybe we struggle in that game. And then of course we have a division game in Seattle, our house of horrors, or although they have to come to us, but we hate them, as Fred Warner said. And then lastly, Danny Dimes will be throwing nickels all day long. So I don't really worry about them too much.
I don't honestly know how the Giants are even in this. I think, Saquon Barkley, I think he's healthy. It really depends on the health of Saquon Barkley. But even then, I don't have any trust, like you said, in Daniel Jones at all delivering. I just don't think that's going to happen. No. And so But I mean, the one thing that intrigues me is the Lions, because that team
Yep.
is a team that doesn't have a very good defense, but has a
Horrible.
really good offense that I think statistically like could match up pretty well with the 49ers. But their defense, I mean, you watch that Vikings game, and the Vikings are supposed to be this amazing offense and whatever. And it's just it's funny because the Vikings literally, and we'll get into this later, but getting crushed at halftime
Yep.
against the Colts, and then lost to the Lions last week. And I just think like against the Vikings, the Lions came up with a few stops. And so their
Yeah.
defense is improving. You can see that. And I mean, it's impressive. So, you know, they're a team that is getting hot at the right time. Their offense is really good, and their defense is like starting to improve and starting to get stops. So I think that is a very dangerous team. And I mean, as for the Washington Commanders, Brian Robinson, the guy who got shot, great
The guy who got
story. But the
shot.
last 2 games, averaging over 4.5 yards per carry. You watch him; he's a very explosive back. They have
He's
Taylor
explosive.
Heineke,
Yes, he
who,
is.
yeah, they have Taylor Heineke, who, I mean, he's not an elite quarterback, but he plays with grit. He's tough, and
Brock Purdy.
you know, I think, yeah, exactly. He's about like I would compare him a little bit to Brock Purdy, maybe just a
Yeah.
better deep ball, but I
Yeah.
would
I would
say
say just
those
a better
teams are
deep
the
ball.
two
Yep.
easiest. I just think we know Seattle too much. If they were coming to San Francisco, we would destroy
Bludgeon
them.
them.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so that's what I gotta say. But yeah, so but let's get
Very well
to the
said.
next. Go ahead.
No, said very well
Oh, sorry.
said. I agree with you
Yeah,
completely.
yeah. So this is the third one though, and I think let's transition. I was bringing. Let's get to this one. This was our last one, but let's get to this one next because I think this is kind of what leading into what we were talking about, and this is the title of the show. What the Vikings win means for the 49ers, and where would you rank the Niners in the NFC right now? I think this team, you know, that let me recap a little bit of what that Vikings game looked like. And I actually didn't watch it, but I watched the highlights, and it was
Craziness.
kind of crazy. So the Colts have a blocked punt. They stop the Vikings twice on 4th down. And then they had a pick six too, right next to the end
Yeah.
zone.
Picks
So right there,
10 yards away.
but like on 2 of those times, I think they settled for field goals. And then they did all of this with Jonathan Taylor, but like a lot of
Mhm.
their points came from just short fields that they got off of like block punts and stopping the
Pick
Vikings on 4th
sixes and
down.
stuff
So
like that. Yeah.
yeah, the
They're
Vikings
horrible.
fourth. Yeah, I don't know how you blow that type of lead. I think it was the biggest lead, like the
It
biggest
is.
blow of a lead in NFL history. I just don't know how you do that. But Vikings come back, they storm back, they win it. Now you're looking at the 49ers still being 1 game behind, and I think the Vikings have the tiebreaker because we lost to the Bears and they beat the Bears. I'm not actually sure. I need to look that up, but
I can tell you.
yeah. So what does this Vikings win mean for the 49ers, and where would you rank the Niners in the NFC right now?
Well, I can tell you all that. So I think it doesn't mean squat, sir. To be
Yeah.
honest, first because we actually have the tiebreaker camper,
Okay.
and it's what it's determined by is it starts with surprisingly your division record. So the fact that we are
Oh, yeah.
5-0 in division and they are who did they? Oh, that was not in division. Yeah, they're 3-1, I believe, in division with still 2 more games left to go. We automatically, unless they went out, then it would go to conference record. So then it would be determined different. But if right now we end up with the very same record, we actually do have the tiebreaker, and I do expect them to
Right.
lose probably one of their games. And even if we had to go into Minnesota, I don't think it would
Mhm.
matter. I think that they just don't match up well with us. We'll shut down Justin Jefferson and
Yeah.
Adam Thielen. We'll shut him down. The crap that he was doing today, it's not going to happen to D'Amico Ryan's defense and Fred Warner and those boys. So they won't be able to run the ball on us. They won't be able to do the 65. They had a 65-yard touchdown pass today from to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
That's not going to.
Oh, yeah, the screen pass, I
The
saw that. That
screen
was
pass. If
ridiculous.
that happens, that'll be the only. If that happened to us, as you know, that's going to be the only thing that you get. The Miami Dolphins got 2. they got two big plays and they got lucky. But if I think Tampa almost had one, right? They called it back to Mike Evans, and then there was
Yeah.
nothing else. If they get that Dalvin Cook play, that means that boy had 3 catches. Jay Jettis had 3 catches for the day. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's the only great thing that they're going to do. So I have no trust in the Vikings. We would destroy Kirk and show Kyle why he never should have had him. Even though I honestly believe, if Kyle has had Kirk in his life by now, we'd have a chip. I do think so.
Yeah.
I think he's good enough, or at least he plays good enough at times. And Kyle is a quarterback whisperer. For everybody out there who does not believe it, he is. He is. He's a great coach,
Yeah.
and he's a quarterback whisperer. We have the most friendly offense for a quarterback in the NFL. So none of those teams scare me, much less the Vikings.
I would agree. I just think that the Vikings, I mean, I think it's gonna be pretty easy for them to win out. They have Giants, Packers, Bears. I
That's
don't
what I
know.
think they'll lose. I think they'll lose to
Really,
Green Bay,
you
no matter
think
where it's at.
okay.
I think
Green
Aaron
Bay,
will.
I think could play spoiler. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's what I'm hoping. That's probably all I'm really hoping, Camper, is and it's really honestly expecting is that they'll end up losing to Green Bay and we'll end up with the same record as each other and we'll have first place. If not, I really don't care.
Wouldn't it be funny if they played Detroit the first round as the second seed or third seed or whatever? That would be quite an interesting game. And
I
that could be an
agree.
easy upset matchup. But like I agree in a way. I just think that, it's an East Coast team. So you have to travel to
Mhm.
the East Coast. You have
Yeah,
to deal with that time difference. And that's always tough. It's also, I think that field is turf, so that's a little tough as well.
where in
And then
Detroit
obviously
or in Minnesota. Min-
Minnesota.
it's turf.
Yeah, and I mean Debo Samuel, that could be his first game coming
Yeah,
back. It should
yeah,
be his first game. So like you're a knee on turf, like I don't know if you want to play that. So
I agree. I would
I
much rather have a
there,
home game.
there's a few things going into that I just don't really like. There's a few aspects, but um, you know, it's just nice that we have a weak division because 5-0, that's nice. So, um,
And David says he's looking at the Vikings versus the. I'm looking at that game too. I
yeah,
didn't know it was the next game. Okay.
no, the next game is versus the Giants,
Oh,
Vikings versus
for the
Giants.
Vikings.
So
Well,
got
maybe
that
they'll step
slightly
up in
wrong,
that
but
game. It's all good.
yeah, yeah,
Whenever the game comes, we'll watch it. We'll all be looking to see
yeah.
what happens. If Aaron can do something for us.
Again, this is all assuming that the 49ers will win out. They have Commanders, Raiders, and Cardinals. I think that's very possibly,
Commanders, I think it's very favorable.
but the only one where I would think maybe could be an upset is Commanders. Now, is that game? Hold on. That game is at home. So I
Hmm.
think we will probably beat them. And so that would, I just don't like, I don't want to come down to the last week because I would like the 49ers to take like 1 week off, but it's probably going to have to come down to the last week for us to get that second seed. And it's just going to, like, it's
Hmm.
going to be interesting to see if the 49ers really want that second seed, if they're just like the last week, if they're going to start their starters and say we're going to go for that second seed, or if they're like, hey, we want that. I mean, we don't really care if we get a road game, the second playoff game. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what
All on
happens there.
Kyle.
So yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, that's covering that a little bit. That was just an absolute. I don't even know that's a mark of a bad team on the Colts though. That is
They are a bad
ridiculous.
organization right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And Matt Ryan needs to retire.
I know he does. I am so glad the 49ers never went after him. There were so many
Yes,
rumors for so many years in a row,
for
and it's
everyone.
like he is not the same person at all. So no. But let's get to the next one though. This one, you know, Purdy, kind of a hero story for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo going down, Trey Lance going down earlier in the season, and Purdy now in two starts, two full starts, and then he started most of the week most of the Dolphins game as well, because he came in like the midway through the first. So he
Mhm.
started about 2 3/4 of a game of games, and you know it's a good story, right? But my thing is like went into other streamers' comments, and there's been a lot of people saying this guy's the next, like comparing him to like, well, Joe Montana never had a big arm, and I actually saw a comment like that. So it's like, I mean, I think the expectations are a little running too rampant, and I know that we want to focus our things like we just won the NFC West, so we want to focus our attention on positive things. But I wanted to flip the switch, since that's something that a lot of people are doing right now. They're focusing on all the positive of Brock Purdy. But what are some bad things that you have seen so far from Purdy, and why should we lower our expectations of him? Because I think kind of it's kind of running a little too rampant right now.
I think you are on the right track. You are a smart young man. What I also think is that fans are fans, first of all. Okay, so fans are
That's true.
prisoners of the moment. Generally, myself as well, is emotional. If you see that rant that I just talked about, the video I dropped today on my
Yeah.
channel, you understand something that we probably shouldn't do on your channel.
Yeah.
You understand what we mean by that. Fans get very emotional. We don't think with our brain; we think with our heart sometimes in those moments. And then everyone wants to say, stay positive, back everybody, even though they don't really mean that.
Yeah.
And who cares what this and that, But that's, like you said, as an apparently very smart young man. That's not reality. That's not how life works. Life is not always positive. You should always try to keep a positive attitude, but you should also live in reality and be realistic. And the reality of the situation is Brock Lesnar. Look, resting on the mind. Brock Purdy was not drafted until we saved his life for a reason, people. He looks like Drew Brees, but he's probably not going to be Drew Brees, and that's his other comparison that
Right.
people are trying to do today. Now, we got his ceiling is Drew Brees. No, it's not. We don't know
Yeah.
that, and I don't think he's done anything wrong so far, other than the almost interceptions. That's really the only thing I ever think is wrong for a quarterback is an interception or a turnover. So he hasn't turned the ball over yet. He's not in a game that mattered. I believe he did earlier in the season in mop up time, or maybe
Yeah.
we were getting beat, whatever the case was. But I think he threw an interception earlier in the year that has no bearing on today. He has been he's been very good. He's been a very good player. He's done what Kyle has asked him to do. But for all the faithful that believe that we're going to trade that young man whose ankle is left on the 25-yard line still right now in Santa Clara,
Yeah.
no. Besides the picks, let me just tell you, faithful, it's not that, because everything that he's doing with Brock Purdy, when Brock Purdy rolled out and got that first down and slid and almost didn't get it,
Yeah.
he expects Trey to at some point get 12 or 15 or 8 on that, not just the 3 for the first down. He expects Trey to be able to go, as you said, play action from center, James, from under center, and make all the every single play that Brock Purdy has made and 7 more that he cannot make. That's what Kyle wants. And now that Kyle is scoring 28 points a game, looking like he's a genius now again with Brock Purdy, he's salivating for what he may have with Trey Lance. So I think the only thing he's done is be limited in who he is, Camper.
Yeah.
I think he's come in and be a great leader for this team, a great motivation and little star and light at the right time for our team, a good story for our team in a year that's been really, really honestly crazy when people break it down. We've been through a lot, faithful. But
Yeah.
I think that the only thing that he's done wrong is just be limited, because he is limited, similar to James.
Yeah. I
What about you,
agree.
though? What do you think he's done wrong or could have done better?
Seahawks game, I mean, there were some good things there, and obviously we can't really put too much into it because it was a game where he was definitely banged up. Like, I texted my brother
Mhm.
and I was texting him. Like, I actually had to go back and watch the highlights because I was at basketball practice for most of that game. So I only got to watch like the fourth quarter, like in real time. But I was texting my brother and I was like this guy definitely looks banged up. And he's like, not really. Like, he's still really doing good. But I'm like, no, like he was banged up. I know he was banged up. And so I don't put too much stock into this game, but what I do put stock into, that interception that should have been an interception should not have been thrown. Like
Correct.
that's where,
Mhm.
I think we all were expecting a lot from him. And that's where he kind of showed us, oh, I'm still a rookie.
Yep.
And the other thing I will say with that, you remember Nick Mullins, right?
I
I
do.
mean, you remember how many passing yards he had
Like
in his first 13
1,000.
starts.
Yeah, in the first 4 games, he had almost like the most ever for or something like that,
Yeah,
and then he had a whole lot, you say, right, in those starts, but then he got found out.
first 13 starts, only behind Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes for the most passing yards in their first 13 starts. So, it's definitely deceiving to say the least. And I would
Yep.
say that
Perfect word.
it, I don't know. I'm not as confident as a lot of people are. It could just be something where the league could get a book on him. But it's a great story. If he leads us to a Super Bowl, you know, I'll be forever grateful. But I don't
Me
know.
too. So, let me say this to you, Kemper. So, if he leads us to a Super Bowl, just the same way, again, if James had done it and people were asking, "What happens next year?" Thank you. See you later. Or, "Thank you. Have a seat." Unless he beats Trey out in camp. Thank you so much, Brock. And just like Nick Foles, sit your butt down. Okay.
Right.
This is Trey's team. And Trey, hopefully, will get us 2, 3 more because Kyle is able to get Nick Mullins to the right behind Andrew Luck.
Hmm.
Kyle and all the weapons that we have, and 2 quarterbacks on rookie contracts now, and still be able to keep them. Maybe grab another every once in a while, like CMC. Kyle's going to be able to do it, and he makes Nick Mullins look like Andrew Luck for a little time period because he has Debo and George Kittle, and
Hmm.
now Brandon Ayuk, and now Christian McCaffrey, and third down Juan or whatever Jawan Jennings wanted his
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
nickname to be. He has an embarrassment of riches, as people say,
Yeah.
as the cliche goes, literally, and so will any quarterback. That's what Brock Purdy has right now. And in September 2023, so will 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, okay, as far as Jimmy Garoppolo goes, I think he's absolutely out of here. That was your
I
question,
agree.
right, at the beginning? Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
absolutely out of here. I just don't see a world where they bring him back. I mean, especially since he's entering free agency, I could see it this year. I could see a good insurance policy, whatever. Um, and maybe like all of the games that Brock Purdy didn't play, maybe he was learning valuable stuff behind the bench. So
Yes.
like that was probably a good thing for Brock Purdy not to be thrown out there week 2 when Trey Lance got injured. So I do thank Jimmy Garoppolo for that. But I will say that like I heard a lot of content creators have been saying this like the last week or so. Every game that Brock Purdy wins, Jimmy
It takes
Garoppolo
a
looks a
dollar
little
away
bit
from
more
James. Yeah.
stupid. And I would say like I will say the one thing that I do see more with Nick Mullins though, and I think you have to take this into consideration. The mobility is definitely something to take into consideration because definitely a lot more mobile than Nick Mullins was, and I would definitely say has a better deep ball as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's get into a little bit of the comments. Um, Army MP13. I know where you live. Do you though? Okay, that's great. What's up, Niner faithful? Damian Lee, probably a troll.
Yeah.
Damian Lee. What's up, Niner faithful?
Subscribe to the
This
channel.
is Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is a regular on the show, definitely pops in.
I know
The one
Damien.
guy
Hello,
that
Damien.
isn't the one guy that isn't in the show tonight is Grandizer because he's watching his Dolphins
He's
game.
watching his
I don't know if
Dolphins
that
get
ended. Did it?
Let me check and see. As a matter of fact, we can check right now. I'm not sure if it did.
Yeah.
But yes, he actually commented on your community post, I believe,
Yeah.
and said of all nights tonight while he's watching his game. But yes, shout out to Grandizer. What's up, sir? If you don't get in, hopefully you do.
Ooh, 29-29, 39 seconds left in the fourth.
Who
Bills
has
are
the
on
ball?
Miami's 12. He's probably going crazy right now.
Come on, Grandizer. Come on, Miami. Do it for my guy. Do it for our guy.
This is an important game because if Miami wins, they're like tied for, they would have the tiebreaker. So they'd be number one in the division, wouldn't they? Or are they
I
2
believe
games
so.
behind?
I want to say that they would be in first place if they win this game.
That's huge. Because, like, in the AFC especially, you do not want to be
Yeah.
playing one of the
On the
top
road.
4 teams on the road.
Yep.
You need to get one of those home games and get one of the bottom teams, because I think if you get a road game number, like, this is a big game for them for sure.
I'm sure he's
Let's
worried.
say.
And of course, he wasn't. He took it very well when we beat him down.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked because, like, and obviously to kind of reminisce a little bit, like, you watch that first play to Trent Sherfield and you're like, oh no. And then
Yeah.
then
we just
I
settled
was getting
down.
flashbacks to, like, what is it? A few years ago when we played the Dolphins and we
Was that?
lost, got trounced.
Yeah.
Was it? It was the year after the Super Bowl. It was 2020.
Yes.
So that was a bad year,
Not this time.
but not this time. I was getting flashbacks to that. Let's see. I'm not a troll. I was born in 1979. Yeah.
I'm not afraid to put your age out there. I appreciate that, Damien.
Yeah, that's,
And also, you have the same name as my child, so different spelling, but salute to you.
Bills just need to kick a field goal. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. They really have got this game in the bag, so that kind of sucks. But let's get to the next topic though. Nick Bosa deserves, well, why Nick Bosa deserves the defensive MVP over Micah Parsons. I honestly don't understand why this is a debate. Now, one argument that I will make why Micah Parsons does deserve this a little bit more is, I would say he deserves this a little bit more because he can play multiple positions. You know, he's a little bit less predictable. Like, you have Nick Bosa on the field, you're always going to know that he's rushing the quarterback. But Micah Parsons, you can drop him back in coverage. You don't know when it's going to be a blitz. It could be disguised. Like, there's a lot of different things that you could do with Micah Parsons. But I think as far as impact, I mean, Nick Bosa has the same amount, way more impact as well. Like, ruins games. We've seen Seahawks game, Dolphins game, both games just absolutely destroying
Exactly
both offensive lines. And the thing is like, the Seahawks had a good two left tackles who were doing really good, and he showed that they were just like, they were rookies, and they showed that on Thursday night. They reminded us all that they were rookies because they got absolutely embarrassed by Nick Bosa.
By the small bear. Well, I think that there are multiple reasons, Camper, as to why he's the defensive MVP. One, because they took away from him already. One, because he was the rookie of the year, and he's just continued to get better and look more and more like a cartoon figure, a superhero, basically, Black Adam, since he's continued to get more years in the league. And just like you said, Micah Parsons is a very versatile player. He's able to rush the passer, or he's able to drop back into coverage, and he does both of those things, pretty well. Nick Bosa, however, as you said, also is a one-trick pony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he sets a great edge, but he's coming for your quarterback. And the fact that you know what Nick Bosa is going to do every single time he's on the field, and you still can't stop him from constantly bending that corner. And every time we were watching the game this Thursday and Geno hiked the ball, it was like on a blooper reel, a funny cartoon. You just see him coming around that corner and almost getting Geno, coming around that corner and almost getting Geno. And Geno felt his breath on the back of his neck all game long. No matter what he's doing, or you say he's on the field, he's rushing the passer, and you cannot stop him. And he leads the league in sacks, quarterback hits, pressures, second in tackles for loss behind Max Crosby, who also plays on the line. That's the major position. It's not middle linebacker or Sam linebacker who blitzes constantly. Yes, he can drop into coverage and all of that, but that's the way that he's such a good player is because you don't know what he's going to do. For Nick Bosa, you do know what he's going to do, and you
Yeah.
can't stop him.
That's a good point. And you'll see a lot of times like double coverage, chipped by the tight end. And
All of
even
that.
like, I mean, he definitely commands a lot more double team and still makes a difference. And then, but my pushback on this is this 49ers defensive line, I think, has more depth than Dallas's defensive line. If you put Micah
Time 50.
Parsons, if you put Micah Parsons on a team like the Niners, what does he do? And that's a thing that will never be answered unless the 49ers trade for him. But that's not going to happen anytime soon.
But that is a great question. I personally don't want him. Stay where you're at. He's ignorant. But no, no. But but you got some people here. CG in the building. What's up to CG?
Yeah.
What's up to John? That's my moderator, as a matter of fact. John it's just John,
nice.
not John. The extra silent. No, so hello to you. CG's another content creator. I'm not sure. What do you folks think about Michael Parsons versus and CG saying a couple of things versus Nick Bosa? We are discussing Michael Parsons and versus Nick Bosa. Grandizer. Grandizer's coming in too. You see that? He's here.
Oh, we got you. Oh, nice. Okay, just got there. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't put banners up today. But we have right now we're discussing Nick Bosa versus Micah Parsons, who should win the defensive MVP. And then Jeong, that's what we're discussing. And then Bosa is a game wrecker. Bosa is a game wrecker, a natural defensive end. Parsons is like Von Miller. I kind of agree there. And then we have Andrew Griniger. He's one of my friends of mine, high camper. And then we have, I haven't seen Grandizer in a while. And then Grandizer, we own the night. Yeah, I just saw the Bills kick the field goal. I'm not sure if that game is over.
So the Bills put the smackdown on a little Mike, huh?
Oh, they just won. Yeah, damn. That's tough. Nick Bosa is clearly the better player, most sacks and Rex games.
Absolutely.
I agree there. Micah Parsons can be blocked and stopped. Bosa can't be stopped. I agree. I mean, and that's the other thing. Like, I don't think Parsons, I don't think he has nearly as many double teams on him. But I will say, you go back to that Vikings game, they beat him like 40-3. He was a big part in that game. So that's where I feel like the Vikings are frauds. Like,
he can be neutralized. A player like that, you can neutralize by running right at him.
Mm-hmm.
You can neutralize by running away from him, because if he's on a certain side, he's likely going to blitz. He's not standing there to just stand there, or unless he looks like he may be covering the tight end. So going away from him hurts him. Going away from Bosa doesn't, because he is likely coming around the corner anyway and tracks down a lot of players behind line of scrimmage, whether it's quarterbacks or running backs, because of how good, like you said, our defensive line is. So our defensive line is setting the edge. They're going to the left. He's coming from the right. It happens to be a run. He can catch that person. And now Michael Parsons has a lot of speed. He's caught quarterbacks from behind and all that as well. But I think you can neutralize him because he, as much as he's versatile, you can do things by just going away from him that he can't recover from.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Hold on.
A lot of comments. Mike McDaniel, play. Grandizer, are you okay?
Let's catch up a little bit. We got Bills won. Yep, we saw that. Bills barely won. Chiefs are a better overall team. I agree there. Like, I think the Bills have less of a run game. I think you get to the playoffs, the Bills can be beat. We've seen it this year. I think the Chiefs have more. They can run it with Pacheco. They have obviously the monster in Travis Kelce. They're getting Mecole Hardman back, which before he left was a huge part of that team.
He was.
Yeah, and they also have, I definitely think, a better coach who and just a
And they have
better
a better
quarterback.
coach.
And I would say a better quarterback. I mean, I like Josh Allen, but Patrick Mahomes has proved that he can do it in the spotlight. So,
Yeah, and actually, no team is going to score. Your comments saying no team is going to score 33 unanswered in the playoffs. You get
yeah,
down like that you're going to lose.
right.
So that's a fraudulent team for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, where are we? Mike McDaniel, play calling not. Oh, hey, hold on. Mike McDaniel play calling got way too cute and stupid. He wore stupid.
Sorry,
Um,
Grandizer.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that game because I really did not watch much of it. I wanted to, but didn't really have the time, so I'll go back
You're
and
a
watch
busy
the
young
highlights.
man. It's understood.
Yeah. Vikings are big time frauds, even though they had the biggest comeback ever, going down by 33 to a 4-win team shows they are frauds. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think there was a little bit of an outlier there, but the pick six on that Kirk Cousins had, that's the other thing. Like you were saying, Kirk Cousins, like, you know, uh
He's I think he's
he's
overrated.
he is overrated. I just under the spotlight, he's not always good
Yeah,
or not
he's not
ever
good in the
good.
spot. All right. Yeah,
He has
ever
some
good.
incredible weapons. And I mean, I think he has a good arm talent, but I just don't know
Yeah, he
how.
does. He has good arm talent, but he's just not a great quarterback.
No.
He's a
And he
good.
can't
He's
move as
serviceable,
much. So,
and he can't.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think the difference between him and Jimmy G is their arm.
is an arm.
Um,
That's the only
yeah.
difference.
And like you could argue that the only reason why at one point he was an MVP during the season, I think they have more of an offensive coach and they just have so many, like they have a lot of good weapons on that team from
Weapons on offense. Yeah,
Jefferson
Dalvin Cook,
to
Jefferson, Thielen.
Thielen, Alvin Cook. Yeah.
Now T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, that's true. They got him at the trade deadline.
He scored today, I think.
He is doing so good. I don't know. Do you play fantasy?
You can get in our
Fantasy football?
Yes, I do with my sons. By the way,
Nice.
we
Nice.
actually do have a league, the three of us together. So yes, and next year we're going to do one on my channel. I don't know. You play? Maybe
Yeah, I do.
Get into our league on the channel. We're going to do one on platform 246 next
Okay.
year. One of our folks asked about that this weekend, so we're trying to get as many people to jump in that as possible. So
Yeah,
yes,
for
please
sure.
play with us.
Yeah, I remember picking up, I don't know who, but I was in a 14-team league, which I, by the way, do not do that. 14-team leagues are extremely annoying. But I like 12-team league is the balance that I like. At least that's just my opinion. But TJ Hawkinson was on the waiver wire at one point during the season, picked him up, and that was the greatest waiver wire pickup. I'm not sure why he was on the waiver wire, but how David McNiner, but McNew. Grandizer 12, what up? How you feeling about your team right now? Yeah. We have a ton of comments. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to them all, but I'll try. Let's see. I'm going through it.
Well, they're having a good time with themselves as well.
Yeah.
That's always good for your show. When your commenters, when your people are talking to each other, that's always a good day. You got something going good.
For sure. Just don't. Yeah, guys, if you have comments, don't ever about the NFL or anything, don't ever feel shy. We'll get to them. David McNiner, still good. Just have to win out. Yeah, it's amazing, especially AFC the last few years. You lose a few games, you get on a cold streak, and you're out of the playoffs. And I mean, Tua a few weeks ago looking like an amazing quarterback.
Not now.
Not now. Yeah.
Sorry, Grandizer.
Dolphins remaining schedule: Green Bay, New England, New York Jets. I would say Green Bay's a win. It's not at Green Bay, so that's good because you don't want to play Lambeau at this time. But New England, that's tough. That could be close, but I would think they would outscore them. New York Jets, that's a good game. So a little bit of a hard schedule there. Not easy to have two divisional games. So, let's see. Anyways, well, I think this is we're almost hitting we're 10 minutes away from the 1 hour mark. So real quick, Grandizer, 49ers remaining schedule: Washington, Las Vegas, Arizona. Yeah. But yeah, so we're 10 minutes away from the 1 hour mark. I'll let you go. Thanks for coming on as always. Definitely
Thank you so
enjoyed
much.
talking Niners. We're gonna have to do it again. And man, tell the people where they can find your channel, like you did at the beginning of the show, and what have you got coming out next. So let them give them something to look forward to.
Yes, sir. Well, first, again, thank you, Camper, for having me here. You are an excellent, hardworking young man. I sincerely respect it. You have a great channel. Folks, if you see this now, later, tomorrow, whenever, subscribe to him and then come over to my channel, jump over there, step up on platform 246. If you like what you see, subscribe. If you don't, leave a comment around and tell me I'll take the criticism. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
But what we got coming for you will be tomorrow. We'll be live streaming play-by-play, a watch along for, I'm going to say, probably the 1 p.m. slate of games is what we're going to do. So come over with us if you get a chance to. And then also, again, like I said earlier, you have inkling for wrestling in your life. You can come have fun with us when we're doing that too. So Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, we're going to live stream all of that. And then, of course, we just drop normal, regular videos, like I told you, when Will Smith decides to slap someone's face. We give our thoughts on that, or whatever the case may be. So you can really see anything. We can take you anywhere you want to go on platform 246, honestly. So I appreciate you bringing me here with you. And hopefully everybody comes over to my channel, subscribe to it. If you're new, I appreciate it. And definitely subscribe to Camper, share the video, and hit that like button for him.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I mean, I link in the description for you. Thank you for that.
Sir.
But I remember so Grandizer, this brings me to a very good point. Grandizer 12, Camper, thanks for getting platform 246 on your stream. I remember like probably a month and a half ago, I was doing a stream with Celts Chronicles. Shout out to him. Great channel. Yeah. Have you had him? Do you do shows with him? Yeah.
We've done one show. I think I went on his show. Either I went on his show or he came on mine. I'm pretty sure I went on his one time before. But we always speak on Twitter. And by the way, follow us. Follow Camper on Twitter, and follow me on Twitter at Bam Bam LLD. That's just BAM LLD. Don't put a whole bunch of M&Ms in there. But I speak to Celts all the time. He's a good dude and a great 49ers content creator.
Yeah. Link in the description for that as well. So everything.
You were streaming with him, you were saying, though?
Yeah, so I was streaming with him, and Grandizer comes in and is like, this guy is really great, platform 246, whatever. And he had reminded me like a few weeks before, and so I had forgotten, though. And I was like, I need to take a picture of this. I wish I had the clip, though. And I took a picture of it, and then like a few weeks later, I hit you up. So it's definitely funny how those things work out. But
thank you, Grandizer, again, bringing people together. That's my man.
Yeah. So we'll see you, everyone. Next stream, probably next Saturday, or I mean, I guess I'm entering Christmas break, so I'll probably be back during the week with another guest. I don't know who I'm gonna have on yet, but guys, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday for what we have left, and go enjoy some football tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow it's football. Everybody, hopefully I can get, maybe if you're not too busy, Camper, you come through my stream. Maybe my sons will be in that stream with me as well. And what we got coming up is by next week, they'll probably be sitting right next to me in some of my streams. So they'll be a little bit different than I currently do. So hopefully you all check those out, and you too, Camper.
Yeah. I will definitely give that a listen. Anyways, we'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your night. Clap it up for platform 246, NFC West champions, baby.
Yes, we are,
definitely a beautiful game. And thank you for all the people in here tonight. We'll see you guys again later.